Her suspicion never waits for a reason, and any hesitation on my part is taken as betrayal. After 3 years of a relationship, we both know the truth. What she needs isn't a partner, but someone constantly subjected to interrogation. So, when I stepped into our apartment just 5 minutes later than usual, I already knew the storm waiting for me. Soon, a sharp voice erupted, "Can't you even be 1 minute late?" Lisa stood in the middle of the living room, her coffee nearly spilling on the carpet. Her eyebrows were furrowed, eyes flashing with a light that allowed no contradiction. I leaned against the arm of the sofa and said calmly, "I just went to pick up some documents." There was a bit of traffic, I didn't expect it to take so long. Lisa snorted and stepped in front of me, pointing at her phone. "Who were you texting yesterday? I saw a 'good night' message on your screen. Tell me, who is it?" I swallowed, trying to stay composed. "Just a colleague. Nothing special. Don't lie." She slammed her fingers on the table, making the coffee cup wobble and spill a little. I sighed internally, I knew she had turned everything into a battlefield. Lisa, my fiancée, who I was about to marry, appeared gentle and perfect, but her controlling nature wrapped around me like chains. After 3 years together, a period that should have been filled with trust had been eroded by her pettiness and endless tests. I looked up at her, my expression shifting from anger to a cold smirk. "What exactly are you doing? Is this pre-wedding stress, or are you just amusing yourself?" Lisa's eyes widened, and in an instant, her anger turned into a contemptuous laugh. "You think you can hide things from me? You think you're clever? Don't be ridiculous." She turned to the bookshelf, took out several printed photos, and handed them to me. "Look at her. She's coming to help tomorrow, and I'm sure you like her. Every man would be attracted to her, but she's picky." I froze, my heart jolting. In the photos was a woman in sportswear, smiling brightly, Sienna. She seemed harmless at first glance, but under Lisa's words, she felt like a ticking bomb, part of a calculated test. "She's just helping," I said, trying to keep my voice steady, my hands clenched into fists. Lisa leaned closer and whispered, "You better understand, this isn't a joke. If you make a mistake, she'll tell me, and you'll pay." The air thickened. The smell of coffee mixed with oppressive tension. I could feel the sweat in her palms pressing down, almost suffocating me. The cushions on the sofa were twisted from her grip, the light falling on her sharp gaze, turning the entire living room into an interrogation room. The next morning, I saw Sienna at the gym. She wore a tank top and leggings, her figure accentuated, her smile sweet and natural. She extended a hand, "Hi, I'm Sienna. Need a workout partner?" I nodded but felt cautious. Lisa's warnings rang in my mind like a bell, this was a test she had designed. In the afternoon, Sienna suggested we go to a cafe to discuss wedding details. Sitting across from me, her skirt resting on her knees, her fingers brushed my arm. Each smile felt deliberately provocative. Her eyes were gentle, yet held a subtle calculation. Unease churned in me, yet I couldn't deny the dangerous allure she brought into the air. On the way home, Lisa's messages flooded in, "Where are you? Why didn't you answer my call?" I stopped and gritted my teeth. Her tests had spread from minor details to monitoring every second, and I felt like a bird trapped in a golden cage, unable to break free. At dinner, Lisa looked at me and suddenly smiled, "Sienna is coming tomorrow. I hope you two get along." I barely contained my urge to vomit and nodded lightly. Of course. But inside, I knew tomorrow wouldn't be simple. Lisa's tests were no longer harmless pre-wedding games, they were ingrained in her personality, and I was about to face a carefully orchestrated trap. The next morning, I got up early, placed my keys on the table, and prepared to leave for the office. Lisa was already busy in the kitchen, tapping the knife handle rhythmically, like performing an impatient symphony. "Don't forget to be home on time today," she said without looking up, her tone carrying an unyielding threat. "I know," I muttered, holding my briefcase, mentally calculating how to avoid the upcoming storm. As soon as I stepped out, the phone rang. It was Lisa. I hesitated but answered, "Hello. Where are you? Why didn't you pick up earlier?" Her sweet voice carried a sharp edge. "On the subway, a bit late." I tried to sound calm. "The subway? Are you sure? I saw you at that cafe yesterday," she pressed, half accusing, half provoking. I swallowed and whispered, "I just stopped by to get documents." Silence followed, then another barrage of questions rained down, relentless like a storm. At the office, I sat at my desk, fingers flying over the keyboard, yet unable to focus on emails. Lisa's warnings and the photos of Sienna haunted my mind. During lunch, colleague Linda came by. I smiled but suddenly remembered Lisa's order, "Don't interact with any female colleagues." My heart skipped, my hand gripped the mouse tightly, afraid she might notice any sign. Linda furrowed her brow, "You seem tense lately. Everything okay?" I forced a smile, "Just busy with work." The office air felt frozen. I knew even the slightest deviation from Lisa's standards would be seized as an excuse for punishment. On the way home, my phone buzzed again. Lisa sent a screenshot of a conversation between Linda and me discussing a project last week. She marked every sentence with a note, "Seems intimate." "Explain." I gripped the wheel, knuckles white. Her control tightened around my life like an invisible lock. At home, Lisa was on the sofa, eyes sharp as blades. She held up my phone. "Explain this." I drew a deep breath, trying to stay calm. "Just work discussion. Don't lie." She suddenly stood, pointing at my chest. "You think I wouldn't know what you're doing behind my back? You'll slip eventually." I stared at her, feeling a heavy weight on my chest. 3 years of relationship had distilled into constant suspicion and control. Every attempt at reasoning with her was met with scrutiny and provocation, tests of my limits. The next day, Sienna arrived at the gym as scheduled. She smiled and extended her hand, "Ready?" I nodded, keeping calm, sensing the subtle trial in her eyes. I knew Lisa orchestrated this to watch my reaction. After exercising, Sienna suggested a cafe to discuss wedding arrangements. She sat across from me, skirt slightly trembling, her fingers brushing my arm. Each laugh carried electricity, blending tension and temptation. "You look tired today," she said softly, her eyes flickering with unspoken meaning. "Yes, probably work," I kept my tone steady, reminding myself silently not to fall into the trap. At home, Lisa's messages flooded like a tide. "How long did you talk to her? What did you say? Send me everything." I typed stiffly, "Just wedding details." But I knew she wouldn't let any detail go unnoticed. Her tests had become a systematic manipulation, an invisible interrogation. That night, I reflected on the past 3 years. Every tardy return, every meeting with friends, even calls with my parents, could trigger her anger. She had humiliated me publicly in restaurants for smiling at waitresses, forced me to answer loyalty questions in front of friends and threatened me with recordings, made me delete all female contacts, even older harmless colleagues, because she thought I could be tempted. I swallowed, feeling the suffocating pressure in my chest, yet realized I had never fully submitted. Each humiliation, each test, had taught me to observe, to study her habits and weaknesses. In the following days, Sienna grew more proactive. She once called crying, claiming her ex threatened her, asking me to comfort her in her apartment. The wine and candlelight felt warm yet ambiguous. I sat by her, hand lightly on her shoulder, knowing it was all part of Lisa's test. "Lisa told me you might be unfaithful," Sienna whispered, choking back tears. I frowned and withdrew my hand. "I can't do that." Her body trembled. "I can't keep doing this. Every boyfriend goes through her tests. I've had enough." In that moment, I understood, Lisa's control wasn't just over me. She systematically manipulated everyone, using others' emotions and actions to satisfy her own desire for control. Sienna's confession revealed the entire scheme. I was at the center of a long-planned trap. Cold resolve filled me. But I saw an opportunity. Sienna was willing to cooperate, letting me gather evidence and expose everything. The 3 years of oppression hadn't destroyed me, they had taught me patience, observation, and the accumulation of proof. Every humiliation, every test, became my groundwork for eventual retaliation. Over the next days, I secretly documented Sienna's previous experiences and Lisa's manipulations. We planned carefully, ensuring that when the truth came out, Lisa could not deny it. Meanwhile, I continued to feign compliance, appearing like a tamed animal to lower her guard. At the office, I kept distance from Linda but recorded any possible monitored interactions. At home, I pretended to obey, secretly taking screenshots, recordings, and saving messages. Every detail accumulated as ammunition. On the weekend, Lisa invited Sienna over for wedding planning. I discreetly set up recording devices, capturing everything. Sienna cooperated, revealing key details at critical moments, allowing me to document each word. When Lisa thought she controlled everything, I had already set my pieces. Each oppression, humiliation, and test became leverage. 3 years of experience no longer brought pain, they became weapons. Friday evening, the rehearsal dinner was held at a small hotel, 50 guests seated around tables under warm lights. Lisa, in a bright red gown, stood confidently at the podium, smiling, holding her speech, about to talk about trust and loyalty. Her expression was sweet but her eyes sparkled with self-satisfaction, as if she controlled the world. I sat quietly, phone in hand, screen displaying neatly organized evidence, Lisa instructing Sienna on tests, messages, recordings, photos, and testimonies from other victims. I breathed calmly, making myself appear normal, but internally, I was icy. 3 years of oppression, humiliation, and fear had converged into this moment. My dear friends, Lisa began sweetly, trust and loyalty are the foundations of marriage. I believe my fiancé and I understand this deeply. I slowly stood, raising my phone. Speaking of loyalty, I think everyone deserves to see the facts. The hall went silent. I connected my phone to the projector. Instantly, a stream of messages between Lisa and Sienna appeared, detailing how temptations were arranged, monitoring conducted, and threats enforced. What is this? Lisa froze, her speech dropping. Sienna stood firmly. These are the facts. I lived through her tests. I won't hide anymore. Every boyfriend faced the same trap. I advanced the presentation, showing chat logs, recordings, photos, and even therapy records proving Lisa's manipulations severely affected others' lives and mental health. The crowd murmured, astonished. Lisa's face went pale. She tried to grab the projector, but I blocked her, don't touch it. Her voice trembled, this isn't true, you're lying. I leaned closer, my tone low and firm, no, these are the facts. 3 years of manipulation and humiliation, you built your own trap, and now it's exposed. Lisa staggered back, tears streaming. You can't, don't tell anyone. I'll change. I promise. To control and satisfy your manipulations, I said quietly, each word striking her like a hammer, you've ruined lives. And now, everyone sees the truth. She tried to retreat, but Sienna's gaze stopped her, enough, Lisa. Now you face the consequences of your actions. Lisa's mother rose, her voice icy, this isn't a joke. You must accept therapy and face reality. I watched Lisa go from confidence to total collapse, feeling both calm and relieved. 3 years of humiliation and oppression had finally met their response. My actions were not impulsive, they were calculated, each step precise. After the dinner, Lisa was taken by her family for professional treatment. Guests whispered, but no one doubted the truth. Sienna patted my shoulder, you did well. I nodded slightly. 3 years of oppression and humiliation are finally over. She can no longer control anyone. In the following days, Sienna and I organized all evidence to ensure every victim could protect themselves. Lisa's new boyfriend contacted me, asking about tests. I sent screenshots, ensuring the past could not repeat. 3 years of fear and shame had transformed into power. Each memory of humiliation became leverage, each act of control became guidance. Ultimately, Lisa faced her collapse, her manipulative behavior exposed to reality. I sat on the balcony, gazing at the night sky, inhaling deeply. The wind carried away the oppressive shadows, bringing a long-lost sense of freedom. I knew the days ahead would no longer be controlled or humiliating, they would belong to me and those she had hurt. 3 years of patience had finally yielded calm and decisive justice. Lisa, once in control of everything, could now only face the consequences in trembling and supplication.